Tom and Jack for Cultaholic.com. Have you wished happy birthday to Sonic the Hedgehog yet, Jack?
No, sorry. I'll do that post-haste after the video. I'm sorry. Is that what the background is?
It's Sonic the Hedgehog's 30th birthday today.
The Emerald Zone.
Green Hill Zone, mate.
Sorry, mate. I don't know.
Sonic Generations.
Apologies.
Heathen.
So sorry.
Here's your wrestling news. We have an update on an absent Raw star. We'll get to that in just a moment. Then we'll answer the question, what will it take to get CM Punk on Broken Skull sessions? He has the answer. And a released WWE star has confirmed an in-ring return. Find out who and where in a bit. Distinct lack of our favourite Damian Priest. He hasn't been on Raw since the zombie match that time. Where's he been, Jack? Where's Damian Priest? Where did you leave him?
Well, according to Fightful, they reporting the Priest is not injured and could be back on Raw as soon as next week if, and here comes the bad sentence, if WWE has creative plans for him. He's been off TV for undisclosed reasons, which apparently, again, according to Fightful, is nothing to do with a rumoured back injury. So we don't know.
There was quite a bit of speculation that he was injured by a few sources earlier this week and late last week as well, and Fightful went out to say not actually the case at all. He has been a miss on Monday Night Raw. Like, Damian Priest is one of those guys you thought, and there's plenty of time for him to be the guy, but, you know, tall, handsome, you know, decent move set. He's got the energy. He's got like a cool persona. Like, surely he more than many others can't miss.
No one's can't miss, Tom, in WWE. That was a loaded thing to say, and you know it was. You cheeky
surely.
man.
What cheeky like? Rainbow. I look forward to Damian Priest on the losing streak coming soon to screen it. No, let's not even jinx it. When Priest comes back, what would you like to see him? Who'd you like to see him in there with? Is anybody on the roster across the rosters, you know, that you could see him getting involved with?
I mean, I can see them, if he was to move to SmackDown, I could see them pairing him with Baron Corbin just because in NXT, Baron Corbin looked a bit like it. He had the longer hair and everything and was tall and a heel. But obviously now Damian Priest's a good guy and I could see that happening. I don't really know. I think Priest would be better suited with someone a bit smaller that he could throw about a bit more. So I'll say AJ Styles.
That's a great shout, AJ Styles. See, I was going to go with Randy Orton.
That's a good one as well. Yes,
I feel like Priest and Orton could make some magic together.
Yeah. Now, AJ Styles, though, he's in the tag division at the moment. So if Priest could find a partner, if only he had a friend who was surprisingly good at wrestling, then, you know, who would know?
So get back here, lovely rabbit man. We've missed you. Broken Skull Sessions with Mick Foley was on the other night. Really enjoyed Mick Foley's chat with Steve Austin. Steve always is excellent at getting the most out of a guest, and it kind of led to the question as to whether or not CM Punk would agree to go on Broken Skull Sessions. In fact, it was Edward Bosco on Twitter who asked during a #AskPunk session, what would it take for you to consider being on the Broken Skulls podcast? Also, go Cubs go. He's a big fan of animals. CM Punk responded with money. Nobody gets any royalties for anything shown on Peacock. Nobody. Yay, wrestling biz. So, if you want CM Punk to bare his soul to Stone Cold Steve Austin, you got to line his pocket with silver.
Absolutely. Fair. Let me tell you something, Tom.
Tell you something, brother.
Let me tell you something, brother. Post WrestleMania, there's been quite a lot of pay-per-views and stuff, and after staying up late, sometimes I found it hard to get to sleep after the pay-per-views. I'd flick on the baseball. So I've learned quite a lot about baseball this season, and the team that I have just found a natural affinity for is the Chicago Cubs. So I concur. Go Cubs, go. When they win at home, it's really charming. They play a song called Go Cubs Go, and it's just, it's very wholesome. Go Cubs go. Go Cubs go. Hey Chicago, what do you say? The Cubs are going to win today. They've already won those, so it's a bit of a paradox, but it's fine.
Well, they're just checking in case they've changed their minds on whether they want them to win or not.
Yeah.
I like it. #Go Cubs Go.
Go Cubs Go.
Baseball is essentially rounders.
I'm one of them now. I've learned this. There's loads of strategy going on. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
So is it different to rounders?
I mean, there's probably less pins
Do you go
involved.
round? Do you hit a ball and go round?
You do
rounders,
fundamentally
mate.
hit a ball and go around, yeah.
Hashtag baseball is rounders. Let's anger the Cubs today. That won't be dangerous when they become fully fledged dogs. WWE Hall of WWE Hall of Famer Lita was talking on the oral sessions with Renee Paquette and talked about the love triangle story that she worked in 2005. Wrestling fans of a certain vintage will remember that first time round. Edge and Matt Hardy and Lita. Lita had it away with Edge in real life, IRL. They turned it into a storyline initially involving Kane, which was a bit like, replacing Big Show with Steven Richards in No Mercy on the N64. But then they fixed that. They bumped Kane out of the storyline and they made it about Edge, Matt, and Lita, and it did what it did. What did Lita have to say about that storyline from 2005, Jack?
Well, she said, and this is quite telling about, the internet. She said, it's still talked about. My relationships are commented on a regular basis on my Instagram or social media. Meanwhile, all of the men involved, anything not controversial, like with CM Punk or Edge or Matt, I guarantee they don't get asked about it. I know they don't get asked about it because they're dudes and, it's the double standard thing. I think at this point, that's the problem. What I hold on to is feeling the double standard. She goes on to say, it's not easy. I mean, for sure, I almost quit a month into the whole love triangle angle. At that point, not only was it so hard, it was also out of shame. I wasn't proud of how I conducted myself. And yes, if I had to do it all over again, I absolutely would have handled myself differently, but I didn't. So she thought, I've made my bed, I'm going to lie in it. And she kind of carries on. It's quite sad, really. She said, I felt like I deserved all of these terrible things that everyone was saying to me. I deserved not wanting to wake up every morning. It was also difficult as time passed to let myself off the hook. The only way you can move forward with your life is to learn from your mistakes and keep going, but you have to forgive yourself.
Away from it all, can you imagine having to work an angle with your ex after a split up, and the other person, the angle was the person that she cheated
now
on
with? Yeah. Oh man, it must have been very awkward for all three involved. Yeah,
deeply awkward for everybody involved. It's a good chat with Amy Dumas on the oral sessions with new mama Renee Paquette. Yes. Tony Khan chatting to PW Insiders. Mike Johnson this week. He's had a bit of flack for the amount of money that he spent on video games. Not in that way, but more in the investment of video games. 8 figures have been pumped into AEW's games department, which people have gone, it seems like a lot of money.
Yeah.
He said he has agreed that he's happy with it. He says it's crazy that it's going to be an even bigger investment that's going to pay off huge.
Tony Khan being optimistic. Who would have thought? I
know. I thought he'd be a realist. He said, I've made this huge 8-figure investment into video games. We won't see any revenue from that until 2022. That's why it's not going to pay off in 2021 on our books. We're going to deliver a great game for people next year and are going to make a ton of money. We'll be very profitable on all things next year. I'm nervous.
Sorry, just trying to push my biceps up like he does when he's doing it.
He does the
promo. Yeah.
I tell you what, the moment the Darby Allin clips through the ring, there's going to be hell on. He's very optimistic about the very financially profitable future of AEW. He's a very optimistic guy in this chat.
Yeah, fair enough.
With Big Mike from PW Insider. Fans returning. I keep saying this. I said this in the news podcast this morning. Fans returning to New Japan Strong. Fans have never been at New Japan Strong.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's a debut. Wrestling Observers say that New Japan Strong are going to get fans, quote, as soon as they can pull that off. And it could be very, very soon.
I feel as though New Japan Strong is something that I, as a fan of New Japan, should have paid more attention to. But obviously there's just a lot of wrestling, and I feel like the lack of fans has really hindered it when it comes to grabbing the attention, because they've had some big names on there and some really exciting matchups as well. So I think that potentially this could be like the spark, this could be the thing that really helps it take off. But we'll have to wait and see. Just want to say, I feel like I've been a bit harsh to Tony Khan in that previous segment, and I do have pangs of regret now.
What do you mean?
I find his transparency, or relative transparency, I find his transparency quite refreshing in the wrestling industry.
It's the 2030s. He's written the check by now. It's fine.
Right, yeah,
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We'll worry about it on the first when he comes to write the next one. So yeah, I think there is a lot of wrestling, and New Japan Strong does get lost in the shuffle a little bit with everything else going on. And it's a shame because, like in 2019, when we was reporting about New Japan branching out stateside, and we kind of thought, all right, a new challenger arrives, and it was around the same time that AEW was sort of being rumbled about, and it just and suddenly the world shut down and it just kind of got lost in there somewhere. So I'm hoping that, you know, we get a fully fledged New Japan Strong, because the wrestling on it is excellent. It really is. When you take time to watch it, the wrestling is excellent. But we are spoilt for choice, as well as the main lads. You know, you got guys like Ring of Honor back up and running, doing their thing. Impact Wrestling, of course, has been going guns. New Japan Strong, and of course NWA, which brings us to our final story of the NW Day. Mickie James taking to Twitter, and she's been very much she's been pushing forward with this with plans for 2 big shows at the end of August for the National Wrestling Alliance, including an all-women show, and followed by the anniversary show for the NWA, celebrating 73 years of the National Wrestling Alliance. What did Mickie James have to say on Twitter about this, Jack?
She announced that at that second show, at the anniversary show on August 29th, she is going to be wrestling. She doesn't know who yet. She says, I'm looking for an opponent, and I want you to tell Billy Corgan who you want to see me wrestle. Who wants to wrestle me at NWA 73? That is the big question. I know who I want her to wrestle, Tom.
Go on.
I know Serena Deeb, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
That'd be a spicy little occasion, that would be.
Would. Absolutely. But there's a lot of excellent wrestlers who could potentially face Mickie James as well.
Oh, like I'm just off the top of your head, you think like guys like Thunder Rosa would be amazing to be in there. If they came to another deal with AEW, get Dr. Britt Baker amongst all that as well.
Is Layla Hirsch AEW exclusive, or is she NWA affiliated as well? I'm
pretty sure she could be convinced to do the
show.
I'm sure
Layla
she could
Hirsch
be
would
there.
Be a good one as well. There's quite a few.
I want to shout out Lufisto. Deathmatch hardcore wrestling legend Lufisto to face Mickie James. I think they'd have some fun together.
They would. It would be tonally quite different from Mickie James' usual stuff, but that might be a good thing.
I quite like that. That's why I think I like it. I'd love your thoughts on it in the comment section down there. Twitch.tv/Cultaholic. Ross is on a Wednesday from now on, so our Banjo-Kazooie streams are moving home. More on that another day. But Ross is bringing you some FIFA-licious on a Wednesday, and you've got Football Manager with Jack and Owen later on.
Yes, at 6 p.m. When's Ross's? This afternoon.
This afternoon.
I don't quite specifically know the time. Sorry, I shouldn't have thrown that out there without knowing. But ours is 6. Ross's will be before that. Check it out.
It's a footy day because, as we do know, football is very much coming home. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.